This week we talk Star Trek Discovery, we have some Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad news, and we talk about Stranger Things and when it's dropping this fall. Stay tuned for Boldly News. So we had a lot of news coming out this last couple weeks, so let's just jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Star Trek Discovery. And Star Trek Discovery is the new show that is coming out on CBS's streaming service this fall. One of the things that's happening with this new show is that this is going to be the first show that's not centered around a captain as the main character. So the main character is actually going to be a lieutenant commander. She's going to be the #1 commander on the ship, but she's actually going to be a lieutenant commander. She's going to be the main lead. It's going to be really interesting to see where they take that character. There's apparently going to be a different kind of tone to this. It kind of sounds Game of Thrones-ish, and I'm going to explain why I think that a little bit here with some of the news that we've had coming out recently. So some of the news coming out recently is that they are changing some major Star Trek rules, and one of those rules is going to be killing off main characters. This is very Game of Thrones-esque, and I really kind of feel like this is a way, or this is an approach that a lot of TV shows are going to be taking now, because they see it's not going to be something that can be a negative, because with Game of Thrones, everybody dies all the time. Sometimes somebody dies and somebody cheers. Like that happened. I did that once. But one of the things that they're saying is that they're not going to be afraid to kill off characters, and another thing is that they're saying is they're going to have conflict within the characters, which is something that they really haven't had more than maybe like an episode go on in this show. At least like within Starfleet. Obviously you have extended conflicts with the Romulans and the Klingon and the Borg, etc. But you don't really have conflict with, like, say, a captain and a lieutenant commander, or say a lieutenant commander and an ensign, etc. So like they don't have extended conflicts. So that's one of the things that they actually plan on changing, and I think that will bring an interesting dynamic to the show. It's going to bring the show very much into the modern era of television. Obviously Star Trek is very much a model of what a utopian human society would look like, but that still doesn't mean that there was never conflict on any end in any part of the show. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So the last thing we want to talk about Star Trek Discovery is that we actually have some old Star Trek blood back to direct one of the new episodes in the new show, and that's going to be Jonathan Frakes. I'm actually really excited about this because Jonathan Frakes is a seasoned director when it comes to Star Trek. In my opinion, he's directed probably the second best Star Trek movie, which would be Star Trek First Contact, which involves the Next Generation cast. I would say that would be the second best after Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan is pretty much unanimously considered the best Star Trek movie ever. So it's really good to have Jonathan Frakes back. Obviously he is one of these characters who's been heavily involved in Star Trek. He's been in the Next Generation, he's been in Deep Space Nine, and he's also been in Voyager and Enterprise, and he's directed shows on each of those runs. So it's going to be really awesome to have him back, bringing in that old blood with some new ideas of what to do with this series, what to do with the show. I think will really make it a huge show, and not just something that happens for like a season or two and then dies. So the next thing I want to talk about is Spider-Man Homecoming. I did my whole review on Spider-Man Homecoming, so if you want to see that, I'll put a link at the end of the video. I'll also put a link in the description. But one of the things I want to talk about is Spider-Man is obviously doing huge at the box office. The last time I looked, there was like 117 million the opening weekend, and it doesn't look like it's going to be losing steam anytime soon. I haven't seen really a bad review about it. I honestly, like I said in my review, think that this is basically as good as a quote-unquote origin story as you can get. It's not really the traditional origin story of Peter Parker, but it is an origin story in some way, and if you haven't seen the movie, you'll see how that is, or if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So it's doing really well at the box office. A couple things though, because we had some end-credit scenes that they were teasing certain type of things, and we have some new information coming out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of those things is that obviously they're going to be a Spider-Man 2, and in Spider-Man 2, that is actually going to take place a couple weeks after the end of Avengers Infinity War. So that's breaking news there. What we are kind of hearing is that Peter Parker, Tom Holland, is going to be kind of like the new Tony Stark, the person driving forward the next phase of the MCU. There had been rumors in the past that that was actually going to be Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange, but this is kind of the rumors that we're looking at now. These are just rumors, so you never know. They're very tight-lipped with this stuff. Kevin Feige, like, he obviously is able to change what is going on. So we'll see. That's the rumors coming out of that camp now. The other thing I want to talk about is it looks like they're teasing the Sinister Six, which I'm really excited for because these are basically specifically Spider-Man's villains. They're from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. So they teased that in the post-credit scenes at the end of the movie. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with that in Spider-Man 2 and 3. I'm really excited for this, so hopefully you're excited too. Let me know down in the comments what you think that they're going to do with the next couple movies. How do you think other players are going to be involved, meaning other players like Avengers and things like that? I've heard some couple interesting theories, so let me know down in the comments what you think about that. So in DC news, we have Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman obviously is still killing it at the box office. It just passed Deadpool in box office earnings, which is a huge milestone. Obviously, Deadpool was one of these groundbreaking movies when it came to it being rated R and still being able to be super successful. So Wonder Woman just passed Deadpool at the box office, and what we're seeing now is obviously Wonder Woman 2 is in production. They're in talks of making that movie. Patty Jenkins still hasn't signed on as director, but what we're hearing is that she is actually writing this script with Jeff Johns right now. So that's happening. They're just probably trying to figure out a few details with her directing, just to get things a little bit finalized. So I'm pretty sure we'll hear about that happening maybe at Comic-Con. I mean, Comic-Con's in a couple weeks, so they always wait to drop big news around Comic-Con because everybody's so hyped. There's so much energy that weekend. So we're gonna hear a lot of big news coming out of both the Marvel and DC and CW and all these universes. We're going to hear a lot of information about that this weekend. But one of the rumors that has also come out is that the next Wonder Woman film will be taking place during the end of the Cold War, and the main antagonist will be the Soviet Union. So it will be end of the Cold War, Soviet Union type period piece. It'll be really interesting to see that. The other rumor coming out along with this is that Steve Trevor will be back. I don't really know how they're going to set this up. I honestly felt like they did a really good job tying his character up, like one off and done. Like that was just really great storytelling to me. I know this is superheroes. It's very possible to bring people back. This is in no way unprecedented by any means. So obviously they can do it. I just kind of was hoping that they move in a different direction, but we will see where that's going to go here in the future. So let me know your thoughts about this. Do you like that angle? Do you not like that angle? I personally don't, but that's just me. I would love to know what you think. Obviously, I know there are a lot of people who are fans of Steve Trevor, so bringing him back would absolutely be a great thing. So let me know down in the comments what you think. I'll be sure to make sure I hit you guys back up so we can talk about that. So one of our main stories this week is Stranger Things Season 2. They just announced the release date when it's going to be dropping on Netflix, and that is October 27th. Right around Halloween. I'm really excited about this. It's gonna be an amazing series. Like, this was some of the best quote-unquote science fiction that I've seen in a long time that was not based off something or a reboot of some other series. So I'm really excited to see what's happening with Stranger Things. So this takes place in Hawkins, Indiana, right after season 1. They're dealing with the fallout from Hawkins Labs. They're dealing with the fallout of Will being in the Upside Down, and they're dealing with just how this society, this small town, is reacting to that. So it'll be really interesting to see what is happening there. We got the main cast back. Bobby Brown will be playing 11. We have all the other kids back as well. Winona Ryder as her character. It's going to be really great to see what they do with the show. I don't have any kind of like spoilers or anything, which is one of the reasons why I love this show, is because like I have no pre-context about what the show is about. It's all brand new. So before we get to our main headlines of the day, and the thing that I just really want to talk about, we're going to talk about the most ridiculous headline that I saw all week, which was the Fast and the Furious 9 movie might end up in outer space. So I saw this headline and I was like, one, why is Fast and the Furious still a thing? This is just obnoxious, Dwayne Johnson. Please knock it off. And two, how exactly are they going to get into outer space? Like, are Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson going to have lunch with Elon Musk, and Elon's like, hey, I had to beat evil NASA to Mars, and then he gives them solar powers that power their Mustangs to fly into space, and then they do some space stuff and like race the Millennium Falcon. Like, I don't understand how this could possibly go. Like, that's the only plausible, like, well, how do you make that plot? Like, they've been on, like, race cars in space? Really? That's what we're doing? Like, if they actually do go into space, I'm gonna watch it like 20 minutes of it. Like, this will only make sense if Michael Bay is directing this. Like, let's be real. If Michael Bay is signed off on this, you know, and the evil person from NASA is Megan Fox. Like, that makes sense. I'm not going to watch that. That's a terrible idea after what he did to Transformers the last night. But I just don't know. So I thought this was a completely ridiculous headline. In the article, the director was like, we can't question or leave anything out. And I was like, whoa, that's just nuts. So the last thing that I want to talk about is Black Panther. So this morning, I woke up to these Entertainment Weekly images of Black Panther, and I'm really excited about what they are doing with this movie. When the trailer dropped during the NBA Finals about a month ago, I was so hyped up. I watched that trailer at least 20 times in like 2 hours because I was so hyped for this movie, and I've been hyped for this movie since they announced it last year at Comic-Con. I remember last year at Comic-Con I was sitting in Hall H where they brought the whole cast out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is going to be epic. So they dropped a bunch of images. The two images that I want to talk about are an image of Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan. They're in this like small body of water, and they both are fighting each other, just looking like freaking gods, just with muscles everywhere, fighting each other, just looking like they're having some kind of either epic battle. It looks more like it's a training session. It just looks like at the beginning-ish of the movie, but they're having this just insane looking fight. So I was like, that is an awesome image. And then they have another image of just all of the characters. I'm looking forward to seeing just all of these characters and costumes in action. So let me know what you think. Are you excited for this movie? What are you looking forward to see? What are you thinking is going to happen in this movie? I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments. So that's it for this episode of Bowling News. Like I said before, let me know down in the comments what you think about the headlines for this week. Is there anything that I missed that you want me to talk about? If that is the case, let me know. Just post a link or just post a subject down in the comments. I will look at that stuff and try to get those things in the future videos. Obviously, with Comic-Con coming up, we're gonna have a lot of stuff happening coming out pre and post Comic-Con and during Comic-Con. So I'm gonna try to get up as much video and as much stuff as I can, news-wise, review-wise, trailer-wise. We're gonna just have some awesome things coming up. I have a couple Nerd Rushmore videos that I'm about to drop, so I'm gonna drop my first one of those, which is about science fiction captains. I'm gonna be dropping that this week as well, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you get all updates on future videos that we do. Like I said, we post these Nerdly News every week, and I post other videos every week. So hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And like I said, this is Bowling News. My name's Oscar Hampton. Later days.